was a dark night. It's a privilege to be able to see your darkest side, to see the deepest fear and despair, and to sit with it as a friend, perhaps your closest friend. Really get to know that suffering. I took ayahuasca a few years ago, and the medicine really showed me the full range of my emotional world. It took me to the deepest depths of my suffering and the highest point of my liberation. And I already had a meditation practice before that, but when I came back from that, I became a meditation fanatic. I just was doing it all the time. The suffering was immense. It was just all the kind of fears and worries and things you normally just avoid just came right up. And I knew that was going to happen. I went into it, just probably going to see some really nasty stuff, and I did. So there was, fear, terror, but I think what was the most difficult part of it, is there a clock? Sorry. What was the most difficult part of it was this feeling deep down that I am unlovable and incapable of love. And if anyone's ever felt that before, it is very cold, lonely place to be. Possibly the loneliest and coldest place. So that was very hard to see. But for all that suffering, I don't know if people are familiar with this Zen saying, heaven and hell are 1/10 of an inch apart. I was going through this turmoil and everything, and I came out of the maloka, and I was walking and probably yelling, screaming. And within the span of about, I'd say 5 seconds, maybe 3, it all just completely disappeared. Like everything disappeared. All of the suffering, all of the fear was gone. All of my problems were gone. I had no more problems. And I've never experienced anything like this in my life. No problems, nothing to worry about. There was nothing. And I saw, wow, I am making all of this up. Every ounce of it. Everything is a projection. Everything. I'm a projection. The world is a projection. And this was the most liberating experience I've ever had, to see all this. And it was naughty. I was telling Hector this. There's something a little bit naughty about emptiness, isn't there? All these problems, we feel so attached to them. Like this is a problem. I need to feel this problem. I need to worry about it, right? It's attachment. And there's something, you step out of it and it's like, wow, it's amazing. So I think the next day, of course, I went right back into it. I could feel, within about 5 seconds again, I could feel that sucking down into samsara, into all my suffering. And it was very, very hard to see that. But that is when I kind of saw the burning house of samsara, and I was like, I don't want to be in this anymore. I'm done with it. And that's when I developed renunciation. I wanted out of this suffering. And I came back, and I was just, like I said, I was a meditation fanatic. I was doing it all the time. And the message I had gotten from the medicine was, you can free yourself. You are capable of this. The choice is in my hand. All of it is a choice. All the projections are a choice. Whether to suffer or not, to hold on to problems, they're all choices. And so one of the things, where are we? Yes, compassion. The other thing is that I realized that the route to liberation runs through suffering. There is no getting around suffering. There's no, hiding from it. There's no repressing it. We have to know our suffering. We have to know what we're clinging to. We have to know how we're clinging. We have to know when we cling, what makes us cling. How bad does it feel to cling? We really need to know that in order to stop clinging, in order to let go, truly. And so I realized that it was really my ability to be compassionate for my own suffering that allowed me to pass through that and into what I call the God space. And it was a switch. It was like a little light switch that I found in the midst of all my suffering, where I could just turn it off. And we all have this power in our minds. We all have this power to turn off these problems that we create ourselves. So why do I want to teach meditation? I realized that to the extent that I turn away from others' suffering, I am also turning away from my own suffering. And to the extent that I turn away from my suffering, I can never free myself of that. So to share this with others, to stay with others' suffering in compassion, to hold it, is to hold my own suffering. And so I see meditation as a way for us to really look inside and find that switch, the God switch, because we're all gods, basically. And all we need to do is focus, find it, keep training ourselves to find that switch. Find, where am I creating the problem? Where am I creating this worry? Where am I generating this fear? And how can I learn to switch that off and switch on compassion? So if we can commit to staying with whatever arises, any kind of suffering that arises, to that extent, we can learn to move past it, and we can learn that there's nothing that we cannot hold, and we can learn that we are truly indestructible.